All right, now, before I get started, I know I picked Angela Hill, and I'm going to start with this fight because for me, this was the most anticipated fight. But I was pleasantly surprised. I mentioned that I would prefer that if for Lucindo to win. I wanted Lucindo to win, but I picked Angela Hill primarily based on experience. And the UFC experience gap is extremely wide between these two. Lucindo is only 23 years old, so it makes sense. I mean, really, I'm going to always, unless the 23-year-old is trash, I'm going to get behind the 23-year-old against the 40-plus-year-old. If I'm not mistaken, Angela Hill is over 40 years old. If not, she's somewhere around there. Okay, she is definitely on her way out. A lot of people were talking about how this was about to be Angela Hill's last fight. I don't know, something about her contract is up. This is the last fight on her contract, and it might not get renewed, something like that. So yeah, I'm not going to get behind Angela Hill winning this fight, but I picked her to win, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. And Lucindo she outfought Angela Hill. She outfought her. Now, I was not alone. Several people went with Angela Hill in this fight. And I'm going to share with you someone else's take.
Based on finishing potential and looking like a man. But I don't see Angela Hill getting finished here. I don't see Angela Hill getting dropped. I don't see her getting put away by KO, by submission. I don't see any of that. And I don't see her getting manhandled by Iasmin Lucindo either. And I do mean those words. So I think Angela Hill's going to win a close decision here. Maybe.
And Angela Hill did get manhandled in that third round. She got mauled in that third round. She was getting beaten up in that third round.
I think this is another upset. I'm not sure on the odds. Maybe I should check those things before making these videos, but I try not to. I know Andre Fili's going to be one, though. Angela Hill, I've got her winning this fight. I think she's a much better fighter overall than Iasmin Lucindo.
Listen to that. And remember, Angela Hill lost every minute of the striking. If you ask me, she lost every minute. All 15 minutes when they were striking, Angela Hill lost. And I really didn't see that coming. But Angela Hill got outworked. The combinations from Lucindo were like a switch on a handgun. Rapid fire combinations that stretched beyond two. Angela Hill's combinations were always in twos if she threw combinations. And I mentioned this long ago. That's what makes Lucindo dangerous. She'll throw 3 and 4 strike combinations and they come off like nothing. Okay, she got this boom boom sound effect. She gets in the rhythm, she gets locked into a zone, and she realized how easy it was to hit Angela Hill. Really no defensive skills to speak of from Angela Hill. And so she got comfortable letting her hands go. And that was it spelled the end for Angela Hill. As far as winning that fight, on top of the fact that Angela Hill was unable to manhandle, unable to, win the grappling, because several times Angela Hill tried to abandon the striking because things were not going her way. She tried to abandon striking and tried to take Lucindo down, and each time rejected. It looked like both fighters were sort of off with their punches. Sort of off. And Lucindo has a pattern of that. Of being off. But all throughout the fight, Lucindo had moments where she was connecting on Angela Hill. And she seemed to develop sort of a pattern, especially as the fight went on. Sort of a pattern of knowing when to throw, where Angela's head would be. Took her a while to get a grip on that. But she was landing way more shots than Angela Hill. And I was entertained. I like the way Lucindo fights. I like the way she fights. I like the way she throws her hands. But I wish she would work a little bit on her accuracy and timing. Accuracy and timing when it comes to throwing those hands. She was able to get Angela Hill down, I think like 3 times. Something like that. But the third time, in the third round, was the most brutal. Sort of reminded me of Mackenzie Dern's fight with Angela Hill, where she really beat Angela Hill up. And if you ask me, I think it's about time for Angela Hill to hang him up. You've had your run. You just lost again. I mean, there ain't no bouncing back. There ain't no climbing her way up to get a title shot or none of that. She is destined to win, lose until she retires. And you will never get a title shot if you're locked into a pattern like that. You can forget about it. She just doesn't have what it takes to be dominant. She just doesn't. She cannot dominate the majority of opponents that she's faced up against. And, from here, it's just a matter of adding on embarrassing fights for yourself. The Mackenzie Dern beatdown was just that. That was a beatdown. And Lucindo finished this fight, if I'm not mistaken, being able to sort of lump Angela Hill up, towards the end of the fight, landing some pretty good ground and pound. Got that young energy on display. Even though Angela Hill's gas tank was effective, you noticed how Angela she doesn't have much power. She can generate some pretty decent power when she uses spin attacks and uses her elbows. She landed a pretty good elbow on Lucindo, I think in the first or second round, but it didn't do any damage. Lucindo wasn't even stunned. Lucindo was able to take Angela Hill's shots pretty well. And it looked to me like Lucindo was extremely comfortable in there against Angela Hill. She was very comfortable in there against Angela Hill, striking with her, and she did not seem very worried about her ground game. That moment where Angela Hill, it looked like she almost had a guillotine, that sort of disturbed me because it looked like Lucindo welcomed it. Like, girl, what are you doing? You about to get, you about to get choked out. What are you doing? And then she sort of changed up and started to fight hands. Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. I thought I was prepared to be depressed if Lucindo were to lose again. We need these young fighters to become more and more dominant, to get better. And I thought this was a bad matchup. Like, man, why are you throwing her, this young fighter, in there once again with an older fighter who has a lot more experience? Yeah, she might be more explosive, but man, you putting her in there against a fighter with an enormous amount of, like, what are y'all trying to get her beat? Are y'all trying to prevent her from climbing the ranks? It just didn't seem like they were matching Lucindo up with her peers, you know, with fellow young fighters who are ranked low. But it worked out in this fight. Now, I don't know how many people are aware, but Iasmin was already ranked. Both fighters. Well, no. Yeah, both fighters were already ranked. But Lucindo is ranked far above Angela Hill. If I'm not mistaken, she's several spots above Angela Hill. And, you know, Lucindo had to defend her ranking. She lost her most recent fight, so she had to defend her spot. I'm going to pull up, actually. Okay, Angela Hill was ranked number 12. Lucindo was in the top 10. She was ranked at number 8. So, yeah, happy to see that. We'll see if Lucindo can continue to make improvements. Now, the other fight that, yeah, let's jump into the Jocelyn Edwards fight. I picked Jocelyn to win this fight, but I didn't expect her to win it like this. You can only get hit in the chin so many times before it cracks, and eventually it will crack. Okay, and I made a mistake. Shout out to whoever pointed that out. I have seen Priscilla stunned. Remember, she got kicked, if I'm not mistaken. She got kicked also when she was hurt. But this time, she got smooth knocked out. And Jocelyn, I really don't trust her punches, but apparently they work, and that's all that matters. And I'm saying that because of look at her arm, look at her fist here. Look at how she throws and lands these shots. They're not proper punches. But, like I said, as long as they work, as long as they reach the target, that's the only thing that matters. She hit Priscilla, and this was in the first round, and it almost looked like Priscilla, she was definitely hurt. Priscilla was definitely hurt. But the way she fell was weird. And when she hit the mat, she was still conscious. And she was looking directly up at Jocelyn Edwards. It was almost as if she was hurt, but not extremely badly hurt. But she was hurt and also lost her footing because of how hurt she was. But she was still sort of lucid enough to keep her eyes directly on Jocelyn, but on Queer Street enough to not be able to do anything about it, to not be able to defend herself. Not that she was defensively sound anyways, but the punch that Jocelyn landed after she knocked Priscilla down didn't get any pushback from Priscilla at all. She looked at Jocelyn, I guess looked at the punch, saw it coming, and just ate it. Just like she always eats all the punches that are thrown in her direction. So she got knocked down. It was a highlight reel type of knockdown. And then she got slept after she hit the mat. She ate another shot and got put down. Now this is bantamweight. Jocelyn Edwards is already, no, is she? Yeah, she's already ranked. She is already ranked. And if I'm not mistaken, Priscilla was a last minute replacement. I don't know who Jocelyn was about to fight first. But Jocelyn is currently number 14. And being on a 3-fight finishing streak, if I'm not mistaken, that's the best in the division. What other female has stopped her last 3 opponents? Let me know, because I can't think of any. And because of that, I think she should get a top 10 opponent in her next fight. She had to fight an unranked fighter, even though she herself is ranked. Talked about Jocelyn Edwards. She had to fight an unranked fighter in this fight and knocked her smooth out. Being on a 3-fight finishing streak in this weak, sad division, I think automatically should grant you a high-ranked opponent, flat out. Match her up against Irene Aldana. That would be my pick. Give her a number 6 ranked fighter if she's doing business like this. It looks to me like training with Shevchenko is paying off for her. It's paying off for her. And in a real good way. She seems more thoughtful, patient, precise with her striking, which I would imagine came from her training with Shevchenko. However, she has sort of included her own style. She sort of incorporated Shevchenko's style, some elements of Shevchenko's style, and married it with her own, meaning those fluid combinations that Jocelyn is like Lucindo, where she'll throw 3 and 4 strike combinations fast like nothing. So Shevchenko doesn't do that. Shevchenko doesn't throw those combinations in those small little pockets of time like that. So that's something that could really make Jocelyn a serious threat in this division. So we'll see if she can keep this up. Again, if I'm not mistaken, she is the only fighter that is on a 3-fight finishing streak. Now the last fight, Gabriella Fernandes against Julia Stolyarenko. I picked Fernandes to win, but I was a little disappointed with Fernandes. I thought that she should have put pressure on Stolyarenko, especially in that 3rd round. She should have started to put pressure on Stolyarenko, because Stolyarenko was ready to go. She was bleeding heavily, and Gabriella was doing too much moving around. She was almost making Stoliarenko look good. With all that moving, and a big problem with Gabriella is that she is not really a counter striker. That's a serious problem for her. Because there was so many opportunities for her to counter Stoliarenko. It was ridiculous. She is like only a lead striker. She only wants to be a lead striker, Gabriella. But her strikes are powerful. They are damaging. And remember, she's the fighter who I said was underranked. Or, underrated. Especially as a striker. She was the one who outstruck Wang Kong. Okay? She has defense. It's primarily with her feet. But she is a strong lead striker. In my opinion, she needs to work on her countering skills and up her activity. Having as much accuracy and power as you have, there's no excuse for going so long without throwing any strikes, especially when you got a fighter in front of you who clearly can't hurt you. Stoliarenko wasn't about to hurt nobody. And you've been running the whole fight. You've been backing up, moving laterally the whole fight. Stop doing that. Stand your ground and be the stronger fighter for a minute. At least for certain periods of the fight. This girl seems she was moving around and laterally the entire fight. Girl, you busting Stoliarenko up. Put some pressure on her. See if you can stop her. See if you can get her out of here. She never did that. So in my opinion, Gabriella needs to display bigger balls in there. Especially when you see a fighter in as bad of condition as Stoliarenko. Stoliarenko could not take Gabriella down for nothing. Every takedown attempt stuffed, and it looked like easily. Stoliarenko strikes. Gabriella saw him coming and defended against them easily. Okay, it's time to put pressure on her. Stop running. This fight, I believe, should have ended in a stoppage, but it went to a decision because of Gabriella. I don't believe Stoliarenko fought her way into survival or to a decision. Gabriella simply refused to put pressure, to be the aggressor in there. And in the third round, not really any excuse. Now, I can't, it sounds odd talking about the winner of the fight like that. But I just see a whole lot of potential in Gabriella. And I feel like right now she's fighting a little bit beneath her potential. So I don't like to see any fighter do that. We'll see if she can become, and I'm not saying go all out and crash out. But she definitely needs to become a little more aggressive when the opportunity calls for it. I can understand you doing a lot of moving early in the fight. But there always comes a point where you've cracked your opponent's code, you've felt their strength, you understand they can't really hurt you, they can't take you down. At that point, you change your tactics. Put them on the defensive. Put doubts into her head. It's time to stop allowing her to build confidence by pressuring you. That was the only thing Stoliarenko could be proud of, was the fact that she was going forward, throwing shots, and Gabriella was moving away. You should have took that from her. So we'll see if Gabriella's team says the same things to her that I did. And Maverick, if I ever banned you on any channel, it's because you are disrespectful. Anybody disrespectful gets banned. You can say whatever you got to say. Just be respectful. Okay? So be careful on whatever channel you are listening in from. Yeah, she's on a tear. And at 135, you got to acknowledge fighters who are on a tear. You know, you got a new champion. You got Nunes possibly coming back. Yeah, it's time to revive that division. And I'm going to leave it there.